I'm thrilled to dive into the world of love, heartbreak, and everything in between, as I share some remarkable stories from the Reddit community's relationship advice forum. Today, we'll be exploring real-life scenarios and getting insight from users who have experienced it all. On our anniversary, my 27 male wife, 27 female, and I were intimate, and she said another man's name during sex. As a mutual friend. I'm at a loss. How do I navigate that? 27 male, in a fight with my wife, 27 female, after an incident during intimacy. For context, we're high school sweethearts married for 6 years. We have a child, 3 male. We've been through a lot together. I love her deeply. Our marriage is in a rough patch. Our quality time as a couple is struggling. We're in counseling. We're working on making time for each other and reaffirming our bond. That's our current focus in counseling, and we're assigned intimacy exercises. Part of these exercises is for us to make a consistent, conscious effort for each other. We had a staycation to celebrate our anniversary while our son spent the weekend at his grandparents'. The trip was largely nice, and we got to better focus on each other, but it took a turn. The night of our anniversary, we were cuddling, and it turned into more. My wife initiated. She was really into it and expressive, and then out of nowhere she moaned another man's name who's in our friend group. We stopped immediately. There was no mistaking what she said. She looked stunned before recovering and treating it like a texting typo or something. When I questioned why she'd say another guy's name, let alone one of our friends, she swore it meant nothing and that she was just consumed with what I was doing to her. I couldn't buy it. I don't believe it meant nothing. Not the passionate way she said it. I believe she was fantasizing about him while being with me. She insisted it wasn't like that and was only a slip of the tongue. I asked why his name in particular. First she didn't know, then said maybe because she was replying to his text earlier in the group chat. When I pushed back, she got defensive. She said I was making something out of nothing and how it didn't need to ruin our anniversary. I told her nothing she was saying was reaching me, and I needed some time. She tried kissing me and initiating again like nothing happened, but I turned her down. The incident put a damper on the rest of the trip. We haven't been intimate since, and any steps we've made forward with our exercises have taken a significant leap back. We're in a cycle of awkward silence, even in front of our son, or her ignoring the elephant in the room. She's being extra affectionate now, but I can't shake what happened. I never thought twice about their friendship, but now I'm seeing past interactions differently. I love my wife. She and our son mean the world to me. I've been committed to working on our marriage, but I'm at a loss here. I feel my wife isn't being honest and is attempting to rug sweep by pouring on affection. I'm left reconsidering everything. I don't know how to navigate forward. I need outside perspectives. Too long. Didn't read on our anniversary. My wife and I were intimate, and she moaned another man's name during sex. The guys in our friend group? She downplayed it and said I was making something out of nothing. Now she's being extra affectionate. I don't believe she's being honest. I'm left reconsidering everything. How do I navigate this? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Reddit is bananas. There was a post here the other day by a guy who fantasized about another woman while having sex with his wife, and it was the best sex they ever had. He was racked with guilt and was asking if he should confess. Tons of commenters were saying they've done it. It's not a big deal. It's just a fantasy. Don't borrow trouble by telling the wife, etc., etc. I'm not saying that to convince you to react one way or another. How you feel is how you feel. But I do say it to caution you against taking advice from Reddit, because what you'll get tends to be completely arbitrary, and many commenters are influenced by what they read from others, and it snowballed. You're already in counseling with your wife. Take this there, and ignore whatever you read from people who say it's no big deal. I fantasize about someone else every time I have sex with my partner, lol, or man. I could never get past this. She clearly wants that guy, and it's only a matter of time before she cheats. Get out while you're still young. We don't have the answers you need. Talk to your wife and counselor? Do people really do that? Think about someone else while boning their partner? That's kinda weird to me. Like, what's the point? Unless you just aren't into your own partner, which sounds sad. I'm with you on this one. I can't imagine doing that myself. Several times, but it was to delay ejaculation as I was getting too excited too fast. Does that count? Not now, Grandma. They said delay not obliterate any chance of. I was always told to try thinking about baseball, but autumnist dimples and tight pants are not helping to slow this train down. And now for the next story. My 29 female, BFF, 32 male, severely autistic sibling, 36 female. Sad him as a child, and the fallout of the reveal is extensive. Please help me. So, this really sucks. We all live together. For context, me and my in-laws. Basically, after he told me this, we had a conversation with his mom before about his siblings' poor impulse control that have resulted in certain other disastrous situations to take place. I wanted to let the parent of the children know. My immediate family is meeting my in-laws for the first time. Because if I were the parent, then I would want to know this information, without specifications on who it happened to. I was open to discussion about it and other options. I tried to remain calm, but my boyfriend attacked me right away the instant I spoke a sentence about it, and said unspeakable things to me he didn't mean in the moment, as he was speaking from a place of trauma. Because the argument fell out the way that it did, he went to his mom for help, because I was nearly ready to leave at the time, for what he said to me. This is where it spirals further, as she took it as a personal attack on the family, as well as he did. I didn't mean it that way, and just fearful and wanting to protect my own family. I felt it a reasonable fear to have, and a discussion that was necessary. But my BF said it was more important for his sibling to not be demonized. I'm frustrated with my boyfriend, because now, after we have reached a middle ground and reached an agreement, his mom is now wary and distant of me. I felt like she really didn't need to know about the argument, and now has looped her into it, and she sees me no longer in a warm light, which I can understand why. I had a conversation with her to try and patch things up, but things don't feel any better. I don't know what else to do. I feel stressed out living here now. I always had a very good relationship with his sibling and his mom, but all that feels hindered now. Edit. I did not know about this before inviting my family. I have not said anything to anyone else about this. I've only spoken to my BF and his mom. Update. I've decided to tell my family to not come over, but without disclosing the reason why. I am keeping them apart. I'm going to try to use my BFF's insurance for couples therapy and hopefully at some point a family mediator. For myself, a therapist whenever I finally get health insurance. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Whatever you wind up doing, you cannot invite young kids over if the sister will be there. Sure, it will probably upset your boyfriend and his mom. But if I found out someone invited my kids over to a home with a known abuser and didn't tell me, that would be the end of my relationship with that person. My mom was molested by my grandpa when she was a kid. Grandma knew and didn't care. My grandparents are still actively in my mom's life due to religion and societal expectations. When I was 7, I came home from my grandparents with a stomachache. My dad flipped. It sparked a whole argument with my mom that I heard muffled, but didn't understand. To clarify, nothing had happened to me. But stomach aches can be a side effect of sexual assault, and my dad worried because he wasn't allowed over at my grandparents to protect me. Complicated. My dad is the hero in this situation, but he is also at this point an emotional abuser and a gradually devolving opioid addict. The next day, when my mom was at work, my dad sat me down and told me that my mom didn't want to tell anyone, that he knew it wasn't his place to tell, but he wanted to make sure I was safe. That I'd never allow myself to be alone with my grandpa. My mom didn't know I knew, and she didn't tell me on her own until I was at least 16. It was weird going my whole childhood with a visceral discomfort around my grandpa, noticing all the lightly creepy things he would do, because I was always on alert. But I'm glad my dad told me, even if it wasn't his experience to tell. I understand why my mom didn't want to drag up her old emotions, but she was also actively endangering me regularly as a child. As your dad, he absolutely had the right to tell you, regardless of what trauma your mother went through. Protecting your child supersedes feelings of another always. I get your mom is a victim, but she put you in a situation to also become a victim. There is no excuse for that. She essentially buried her head in the sand and pretended her parents were safe and sent you there, knowing the danger. I don't know how you rationalize that. I'd protect my daughter from any and everyone. Who it is does not matter. Religion is a hell of a drug. And your mom was sending you with your parents? Wow. She's a victim, and I feel sorry for her. But why? That's putting you into the shark's mouth. Your grandparents suck, but that's a given. Well, the grandma didn't care if her own daughter was being sad. So of course the daughter's going to grow up with the same idea. Generational trauma. Also, she mentions religion. Let's not forget how many churches love to hide and protect abusers while shaming and blaming their victims. They are great at convincing people it's their own fault they were abused, and it goes against their values to protect your children from the abuser, especially if he's a man. They wouldn't be in my life. I'm sorry. And now for the next story. My GF, F25, forced me to cut a friendship with one of my M25 best friends. How to handle it? I'm currently getting my bachelor's degree outside in another country, and I've been on a long-distance relationship with my GF for almost 2 years. Every 4 months we get to see each other for 2 months, and in 2023, I made a lot of friends during my first year overseas. I was always transparent about my new friends with her, I thought, until September 2023. I told my GF that I was going to the movies with some friends. I didn't give a lot of details about each one of them because we never agreed on doing that. After 3 months, I told her about the film I watched with them to her, and she felt devastated after I mentioned that there was a woman in the group. Mind you, we're full, and she was the only girl, and during that time, she was in a relationship. I did share this with her after she found out, but she still felt like I lied to her when I just didn't consider relevant to tell her during that time, as I was just meeting new people, friends, and took it as bonding experience. I apologized and we moved on, apparently. Things got strange after this, as I tried to distance myself from her, but our mutual friends kept inviting us to their plans. As an international student, I thought I found a chill and friendly group of friends, but I couldn't handle the constant interrogations of my GF. I do love her, but I sometimes feel she used the previous situation to justify her surveillance over me. Every now and then she questions me about any girl I follow on IG, and I have to explain her that it was a friend from school or college, and I've made it clear to her that I used IG more like a LinkedIn way to connect with people. I've never hooked up with any of my female followers because I despise hookup culture. On the other hand, my GF did tell me when we began dating that she used to hook up a lot, and I was fine with it. I accepted her and believed in her decision to be my partner. I never questioned her about her past until she told me she still followed her past hookup. Like, you get jealous for me following a childhood friend, but it's fine if you follow the guys you went to bed with. Excuse me, I've gone insane for a while. I feel like I'm inside 1984. Anyways, I calmly shared to her my insecurities, and she understood and unfollowed such individuals. Fast forward to 2024, I got more close to the friend group I mentioned before, and that implied being a close friend of the woman my GF felt insecure. I know it sounds wrong for me to keep interacting with her, but let me remind you I was part of a friend group, and I never hung out with her alone. I even took pics of our plans just to show my GF. I was always with the group, and not only the girl she hated. As my GF kept stalking her socials, one day she showed me a TikTok my friend made captioned, "I'm attracted to my friends," while ovulating, which was obviously a comedy-type TikTok. I'd never watched the video, as I don't use TikTok, but my GF showed me the video as some kind of always right trophy. And that's how I abruptly stopped hanging out with them, and unfollowed her on every social media, only to reassure my GF that I'm no longer in contact with her. This happened 3 months ago, and I still feel emotionally hangover IDK. If I should keep fixing things or just quit. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.